Hey everyone, the US economy is slowing, and now that we've got some more news on tariffs, we are likely going to see an economy that, at least for the time being, slows somewhat. We're not here to call for recessions and make really big outlier calls, but the likelihood is that the economy slows from here. And we can actually already see this. If you look at this is an ETF you guys can all track. And it's ticker symbol BKLN. BKLN. And what it does, it actually tracks what's called senior loans. Now, these are essentially bank loans, much like bonds, but they're loans. And if all you do is look at the chart pattern here, which is important, you can see, and this is a chart going all the way back to the early 2000 or the mid 2000s, so 2012 or so. You can see that every time when we had this pattern start to break, which is kind of like what's about to happen here, it would go down. So the bond market or these loans would go down in value, and the economy would slow. Now, if you're wondering what the equity market did at those different times, what I did is I'm going to overlay. In fact, I'll overlay it this way. This is the S&P 500. You can see that every time this started to happen, the equity market also went down, which shouldn't be all that surprising. So what's important though, let's just go back to like 2022 so we don't have to make the video too long, is that the S&P 500, for example, is much less clear to chart, but this is such a clear charting pattern on this BKLN. And if this is any indication, and you can see that the bank loans are just now starting to break down, then the S&P 500 up there, if this were to continue and break down, which again, historically speaking, as you can see, has happened every single time, then we should be able to see a lot more pain here, or at least some more pain. 5-10% is not out of the question from here. When everyone's now calling for the bear market, or it's not a bear market, for this pause to be over. So I'm just putting this out there. A lot of people are not, in fact, I haven't heard one person talking about this. I found this, I thought it's very interesting. Not calling for the end of the world, not calling for, dramatic recessions, just the credit market, which is what this BKLN ETF is, actually way smarter than the equity market, just so you know. So typically I have a pretty good peek ahead. Again, this does not mean it's the end of the world, but hoping and praying for the S&P to be back at all-time highs by 2 weeks from now is probably not realistic at this point. Hope it helps. See you in the next video.